the blood-brain barrier, we have the cerebrospinal fluid produced in the choroid plexus. You have to know this. In the ventricles, choroid plexus epithelium cells are joined by tight junction along selected passage. Your role to know where is the cerebrospinal fluid produced and absorbed. Where is going to be absorbed? On the arachnoid cells. In the arachnoid cells, I mean, here, see, if you look to this, and here we have the sagittal, and here we are going to have fossas, and these fossas, this is called arachnoid fossas. So in the arachnoid fossas, we have a lot of veins, and finally they are going to drain on the sagittal sinuses. So it's going to be produced in the choroid plexus inside the ventricles, and they are going to be absorbed on the arachnoid cells, which finally goes to the vessels, I mean the sagittal sinuses. This is physiology, I don't know that you need it. So the circle of Wells. Deben saberlo, ¿sí o no?
Yes.
You know it? ¿Sí o no? Who does not know the circle of Wells? Perfecto. Mira, yo quiero que de verdad entiendan eso antes de poner slides. De aquí. So you never forget this. Because we cannot go direct to the circle walls until we know where they come from. But anyhow, if you look to the heart, which has the left atrium, this is the right atrium, this is the left ventricle, this is the right ventricle. So here from the left ventricle here, we are going to have the aorta. And here we are going to have the aortic arc. Then we are going to have the descending aorta. This is from medicine, I mean basic. So here we are going to have what we call the brachiocephalic trunk, which gives you what? The subclavius as well as the common carotid. And the common carotid here is going to be just by divided at the angle of the mandible here. So whenever you do any type of surgical procedure near the angle of the mandible, take care for the carotid artery. Here, the bifurcation is going to be divided to the external and the internal. Look here, this is the right side, but the left side here we have the subclavius. The right subclavius, the common carotid subclavius, the external as well as the internal. Now, if you look to the left side here, you are going to have the same. You are going to have the carotid, the internal, and the external. And here you are going to have the subclavius. From the subclavius, so far, you have to know that there is a vertebral artery. Now, the circle of Wells is going to be divided anteriorly, anterior circle, as well as posterior circle. Let us see the posterior circle, which comes from the vertebral artery. You see, the vertebral artery so far comes from the subclavius. So I'm going just to make it here. This is the vertebral artery, and this is the vertebral artery here. This one and this one. They come from the subclavius. They come from the subclavius. And both of them, they are going to form one artery, which is called basilar artery. The basilar artery here is going to give us branch here, which is called the posterior cerebral artery. So we have the posterior circle. You see, comes from the vertebral artery. Now, the anterior circle comes from the internal carotid. The internal carotid. I'm going just to make the internal carotid here. Just one point here. So the internal carotid is going to give you artery here and artery here. This is the internal carotid. Internal carotid. Okay? So this artery, this is called middle cerebral artery. This is middle cerebral artery. What else, guys? Is going to give you one artery here, which is called anterior cerebral artery. So this is the anterior cerebral artery, and this, the one, you see, this is anterior, the same one, anterior cerebral artery. And here we have the anterior cerebral artery. And both of them, they are going to communicate with each other through the what? Through the anterior communicating artery. So far, you have the posterior circle and you have the anterior circle. The posterior circle comes from where?
From the external.
Subclavius, the vertebral, both of them, they are going to form what? The basilar. The basilar is going to give you two posterior cerebral artery. So this is the main posterior circle, comes from the vertebral artery. Although here we are going to have from the basilar, we are going to have another branches, which is goes for the cerebellum. Superior cerebral artery. But this is posterior cerebral artery. The anterior circle, we say from the internal carotid. We are going to have the middle cerebral and we have the anterior cerebral. So what the artery which communicate the anterior circle with the posterior circle? The posterior communicating artery. That's why we are going to have a circle which is called the circle of Willis. Yes? So, arteries. Look here, if we have the same, we say that this is, what's the name of this one? Basilar comes from where? Vertebra. And the vertebra comes from where? The subclavius. Look here, the internal carotid. We are going to have, what is this one here? The middle. And what about this one here? The anterior. The one which communicates the anterior. We have the anterior communicating. You know that this point, guys, this point, this is where is the aneurysm is going to be formed. Very common site for the aneurysm. So whether the anterior circle or the posterior circle is going to be just is going to be communicate with each other through the posterior communicating artery. The anterior cerebral artery this is almost the medial surface of the brain. The medial surface of the brain. And 90% of the medial surface of the brain, 90% means todo eso, is going to be supplied by the middle cerebral artery. While the anterior, we just look here, the anterior is going to be by the anterior cerebral, and the posterior is going to be called by the posterior cerebral. If you look here, now you can understand the, again, the 90% of the medial surface, the lateral surface, we talk about the lateral surface. The 90% of the lateral surface here is going to be supplied by the middle cerebral artery. The peripherally here, almost like you can say 5%, is going to be supplied by the anterior, while the posterior periphery here is going to be by the posterior. Yes? You know why the middle cerebral artery, the one which is going to be damaged mainly when the patient has stroke, cerebrovascular accident. Yes? So this is the most common artery is going to be damaged. And how we know the middle cerebral artery? If we have infarction here, stroke here, the right side, the patient is going to have the left hemiplegia, means paralysis on this side. If we have damage here, so the right side is going to be paralyzed. Yes? And what else, guys? In the middle cerebral artery here, we are going to have speech area. Speech area. I mean, the speech area cannot talk, cannot speak, or they speak some nonsense. Depends where exactly the damage. So whenever you have a patient with the middle cerebral artery, the patient might have aphasia. Aphasia is aphasia. So difficult of talking. From the bronca, the patient is going to talk like broken words, or the patient might talk nonsense if the wernicke area is affected. The posterior area is going to have the vision problem. The anterior cerebral artery, this is supplied the middle aspect of the cerebral hemisphere. The middle cerebral artery Ya ustedes saben eso, ¿no? Cómo se forma. Branch of the basilar, we know that the posterior cerebral is there. The branches of the basilar artery, the anterior inferior cerebral artery, we were talking about this. About the superior cerebral artery, we have the posterior cerebral artery, which is the last line. So here, cerebral artery or the superior cerebral artery. Here I have mistake. Says the middle cerebral artery is not part of the circle of Wells, which is part of the circle of Wells. So if you let us see here, The question. Which one is not exception for the cerebral, the Wills circle? Anterior communicating is not going to be part of the circle because it's going to be just on the anterior part. Which of the following branches of the internal carotid is most frequently implicated in the stroke? Middle cerebral artery. Good. Which of the following statements is correct regarding cerebral arteries? How are you? Yes? The hemorrhage, we were talking about the epidural hematoma, the subdural, the subarachnoid, or retinal, but here we have the CT scan. Once you see a patient with a CT scan, it looks like lens in shape, So this is technical. This is a technical. Just the radiologist, or if you see a CT scan and you see it looks like lens in shape, so this is epidural hematoma. This is another epidural hematoma. Yes? This is inside the cerebral hemisphere, which is called intercerebral. The subdural hematoma is going to go all the way, looks like crescent in shape. We might see, I don't know, I have it or not. Okay. There is another, the last question here. And you give me the answer.
The middle meningeal artery.
Why?
Because it's in the side of the skull, the lateral side of the skull.
So, this is why. Why the answer is the middle meningeal artery. Or if you'd like to change your answer, just let me know. No, it's E. E, which is the middle cerebral artery. Why the middle cerebral artery? Okay. During a boxing match, boxer got blow on the lateral side of the skull. Immediately he fell unconscious. So, perdió el conocimiento. ¿Sí o no? Perdió el conocimiento. Several seconds or a time, he was asymptomatic. El paciente despertó. No tenía absolutamente nada. Yes? Asymptomatic for the last 24 hours. Then he developed symptoms of elevation of the intracranial pressure, means there is a hematoma. Headache, nausea, vomiting. Which of the following arteries is most likely involved? The middle meningeal artery. Because of this, guys, he was asymptomatic for the 24 hours. Maybe even 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So this is the epidural hematoma. Epidural hematoma, we said the subdural hematoma, the patient is going to have coma all the time. But the epidural hematoma, there is the patient lost his consciousness, después despierta, como no pasó nada, incluso si está con el motor, con otro, el que traiga al otro al hospital, y el otro, que el epidural hematoma se cae dentro de la emergencia because of the epidural hematoma. Yes? So this is the end of the class today. O continuamos, estamos aquí hasta las 10, no importa. Yo sé el día del amor hoy, ¿no? Pues, ¿para qué hacer entonces? Muchas felicidades.